That I'll tell you what, this book was, I don't know if it's the translation or whatever, but there's definitely some long, complicated sentences that were a little bit tricky for me.
Sure.
Had to read it a few times. Back to the book there, and let me, by saying that, what I mean is like sometimes, you know, a movie from 1987 is a better example.
Amen. I dig it.
That's what you're here for.
Yes,
Keep
sir.
it real over here.
Yep.
There is another ruse, which is that if you find the enemy too strong to attack him, you help him with the means of dividing his forces. So basically, if you can get people to split up, if you can get your enemy to split up, that's a good tactic as well. There's another type of ruse which is admirable. It is that of double spies. It is necessary to know them and then tell them with an air of good faith everything that you want the enemy to know. So, there you go. It is essential to know what is happening amongst the enemy. I am of the opinion that the best thing against the Austrians will be to bribe some captain or major for their hussars, by means of whom intelligence can be carried on with them. And there's a reason why I'm talking about this. So he's talking about spies, and this is kind of old school, but I brought that part up so I could do this part right here. If greed for silver does not work, it is necessary to employ fear. Seize some mayor of a village where you camp and force him to take a disguised man who speaks the language of the country, and under some pretext to conduct him as his servant in the enemy army. Threaten him that if he does not bring your man back, you will cut the throat of his wife and children whom you hold under guard while waiting, and that you will have his house burned. I was obliged to employ this sad expedient in Bohemia, and it succeeded for me. In general, it is necessary to pay spies well and not to be miserly in that respect. A man who risks being hung in your service merits being well paid. So, Frederick the Great, we know he liked music and literature, but guess what? He was no stranger to just having your family's throats cut and burning the house down.
Jeez.
Yeah, ruthless.
So he's saying be well paid. Like, it's kind of like, hey, if you listen, like a carrot and the stick situation, where it's like, oh, okay, if you listen, if you're all good, you get paid well. If not, you get your house burned down.
Yeah.
And your kid's wife slit throats.
Yep. He's saying if you can, use the carrot. If the carrot works, that's great. If you can make someone greedy, that's like, all right, you know what, I'll get this information for you because I'm greedy. That's cool. If you can't get that, time to use fear.
It's kind of give them no choice kind of situation.
Yeah. And, you know, that's what's scary about that is that's goes on today. That's what a lot of the jihadists would do. They would kidnap, or they would take someone and say, look, you either run this suicide bomb into this building or we're going to kill your family.
Yeah.
All of them. And burn your house down, and you know, the people make that horrible choice.
Yeah, and that's more the sticks. Like, remember the old
complete
school
stick.
Remember the mafia movies and stuff. They're like, hey, they're paying off this guy, but if he's like, if he doesn't want to play the game anymore, then they kill him. You know, it's kind of like that, right? Basically. No,
it's two different things. So if you can get someone that will do what you want them to do for money, that's great.
Yeah.
If you can't get anyone to do that, then you got to go. You got to go throat cutting. Yeah. But I guess you're right that someone could say, "Hey, I'm done," and then you go, "Oh no, you're not done."
Right.
You're done. So you are right.
The mafia.
The mafia thing. Like, you're gonna keep doing this. No, I'm not. People get involved in situations like that they shouldn't have gotten involved in, and it all seems okay.
Yeah.
It all seems okay in the beginning.
Yeah.
One side or the other, because either side, whether you're a criminal or whether you go to help a criminal out or you go to help the cops out, like you think it's going to be, hey, it's just going to go good. It's not.
Yeah.
You're going to end up in a bad situation. You're in a bad way.
So the expression "getting into bed with whatever," you know.
Yeah, it's not going to work out.
Kind of that situation.
I never wanted to be a spy of any kind.
You never did.
Never wanted to be a spy of any kind.
Yeah.
Never watched James Bond and was like, I'd really like to do that. Never watched a spy movie and thought, like, I don't know, I don't like that whole paranoia. Like undercover cops too. I'm sure we'll get somebody that's done deep undercover. Yeah. I never had, like, I don't like that.
Yeah, I can dig it, man.
I don't want to fabricate everything like that all the time.
Yeah.
That's just hard. I mean, props to him. Like undercover cops, that's a crazy job. Can't even imagine it.
Bro, imagine going in, right? You're undercover, deep cover. You go in and you don't know if that guy knows.
I know.
Because that's how,
Scary.
right?
Yeah,
like
for sure.
especially these organized crime bosses. I don't know that's how it is on the movies anyway. Where when they find out, it's like a lot of times they don't just, oh, what? He's a cop, and kill him. It's like, no, crew.
They set him up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I never had the desire to do that. Some people really like that stuff. I never had the desire to do that.
Remember Swordfish? You watch that movie, Swordfish?
No.
Yeah. That happens. Anyway, it's like a cross and a double cross. Anyway.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that some other time.
Yeah, well, you know what? Let's tee it up for a whole podcast.
We'll go back to the book. How about that?
Check.